year was 2020 and we were living through an isolation nightmare. Just like everyone else, my job told me to go home and stay there. I was living in Chicago at the time, a place that I still to this day love. It's a place where I have friends that I rarely saw, a place I had been dating for 2 years but was still just too afraid to actually commit to anything. It was a place where I had isolated myself long before the pandemic, and there was honestly a level of emptiness inside of me that I never bothered to address, because as long as I was around people, whether it be in my commute or at work or when I went out around town by myself, that was enough for me. That was until
the risk for all of us of becoming infected will be increasing.
I also directed the Department of Health to declare a public health emergency.
There is no doubt that there will be more cases where we find people who test positive.
The novel coronavirus outbreak spreading across the world, now hitting the United States from coast to coast.
In March of 2020, Nintendo finally dropped its long-awaited sequel for its cozy life sim, Animal Crossing. It was a game that appeared at just the right time, even though it wasn't without its faults. It was, for many, the perfect cozy time waster. There were daily tasks that the game made you feel like you absolutely had to do. There were friendships that you could form with your villagers, and there were those daily trips to the shops to make sure that you filled your catalog to the brim with stuff. But also with all of those very familiar things about Animal Crossing, for the first time ever, there were two important features added that fit the dystopian hellscape that we were all living through at the time. It was the ability to terraform and the ability to visit other players' islands. I was just a few weeks into the pandemic without much going on at the time. I stayed in regular contact with my bestie Taylor, and he kept telling me how I needed to get a Nintendo Switch. Now, I already owned a PS4 that I really didn't play much, and I didn't feel the need to invest in another gaming system. He, however, persisted, telling me about this Animal Crossing game, a series that I was only passingly familiar with. You see, I haven't owned a Nintendo console since the Wii, and prior to that, it was the original NES. And as for Animal Crossing, I always honestly thought it was a game for babies with its ooh-woo aesthetic. But Taylor, him being my best friend and all, he knew exactly how to pique my interest. Ayo, bro, they be having designer clothes in that joint. So of course I asked 1,000,001 questions, like, did they do official collaborations with the designers? Were these things that you could just buy in the store? Like, how does one go about getting a Virgil Louis Vuitton jacket in Animal Crossing? He would later explain to me that it would actually be regular users uploading designs, and as I looked into it further, it wasn't exactly what I thought it was, but still, it piqued my interest. And from that point on, I started looking into the game a little bit more. Maybe I would get a Switch. I mean, a Lite is only $200. These two features Nintendo added unlocked an entirely new experience that I don't think Nintendo neither intended nor expected. What was initially a way to give the player more control over their island's aesthetic became masterworks of hours and hours of terraforming. An entire entertainment industry was created from the ground up by new and old Animal Crossing fans playing this game in isolation along with the rest of the world. There were new Animal Crossing YouTubers showcasing their insane terraforming skills. We were all at home and we were all tuning in and watching. The YouTubers became streamers, live terraforming their island so that we could watch along in awe. And not only was it about terraforming, it was also about decorating, filling every nook and cranny of an island with stuff in a way that made sense, whether it be for themes or whether it be for more natural looks. Whatever it was you were trying to achieve, there was someone out there trying to do it. I eventually took the plunge and bought the Switch Lite, with my very first game being the mediocre My Hero Academia fighting game. But my next was Animal Crossing, and once I booted it up, I instantly fell in love with the music. From the first note of the recognizable New Horizons theme, I was addicted. I was finding myself floating around the island aimlessly, just waiting for the hour to change so I can get a glimpse of the next song to come up. And let's not forget about the zany cast of characters being greeted by the Nook twins to start the game off. And not to forget big greedy Tom Nook offering me a loan to get a modest sized house. These were all the things that locked me into the game to begin with. As odd as it is to say, I grew real attachment with my villagers. These were my buddies, and I look forward to my interactions with them every day. I'm embarrassed to say that I remember crying on my birthday the first time with Animal Crossing. My favorite villager, Lolly, waiting outside my house, walking me over to another one of my favorite villagers' house for a party that they were throwing me on my birthday. It was honestly the one thing I had to look forward to on my birthday that year. I felt this real connection with my villagers, characters I was spending hours with on my island, watching them go on with their lives. At this time, it was just me on my solo grind, as I didn't really know much about the Animal Crossing ecosystem building at the time. It was just me, and sometimes Taylor joined along for the ride. I remember getting super obsessed with the box sofa that I got from a balloon present. I kept talking about how there had to be other pieces and other colors to this thing, but they never showed up in my stores, ever. Taylor started telling me about how other players visited each other's islands and traded things with each other, and maybe I could find the box sofa pieces there. Oh, how naive I was to the world this was about to unlock for me. This was the point where Animal Crossing was starting to change my life. The world was still in the middle of a lockdown that lasted way longer than any of us ever expected. But Animal Crossing, it kept chugging along with new updates and communities building around trading anything from NPC visits to turnip buying and flipping to item trading. Suddenly, this silly little life sim game was becoming a new way for people stuck at home to connect. And boy, were they connecting, building new friendships and experiences along the way. There were Discord servers, websites, and even eBay listings for those hard to find villagers. Yes, people were spending in real life money on eBay for villagers. It's crazy. This is where my story really started. After being encouraged to try out the online communities by Taylor, I dived in headfirst, becoming a prolific Nookazon trader. I was up all day and all night hustling goods, trading turnips, and trying to make as many bells, the in-game currency, as I could. I'd honestly go on to meet some of the most awesome people, visiting their islands to trade, catalog islands, visit their NPCs, or shop in their stores, or just to hang out. I had some great experiences with some absolutely amazing people, and I saw some beautiful, beautiful island designs. It was just so much fun. It was like for the first time, I was cultivating a community for me, a community of people who understood me and wanted to hang out with me for me. One day during a trade, I was introduced to my first Discord group by another player I was trading with. I jumped into this group, and of course I was a little shy and timid when I first started out, but the Billionaires, what this group was called, welcomed me with open arms. We would stay up playing together all night long, working on our islands together while hanging out on voice chat. We had events on each other's islands, played games, and celebrated real life milestones together, like birthdays or getting a new job, just anything that helped us connect a little bit more and made each and every person feel special. These were really my friends, the people I look forward to seeing every day. I'd been so isolated for so long that I didn't realize how much I was missing belonging to a group. To have that connection, that joy you get from being around other people who appreciate you for you, it really opened my eyes and my heart to let people in. And that's just what I did. In that group, I met someone. For the first time in years, I was actually open to loving another person. Animal Crossing became a way for us to connect from a distance as we lived across the country from one another. Eventually, I left the bellies during a rough patch in my relationship with that person, and I regret that I did that to this day. She and I would eventually work things out and continue on, but as our relationship grew, so did the need to find other games to play to connect with each other on while in our long distance relationship. We found ourselves playing more Splatoon than Animal Crossing, and on a personal level, after spending nearly 2,000 hours on the game, I started to feel the fatigue. I stopped checking in every day, just occasionally, then for seasonal events, then when friends would ask for stuff, and finally, hardly ever. After over a year of consistent play, I had moved on. Animal Crossing's influence on my life didn't exactly end there though, as me and that girl I liked, we kept going and we kept playing games together until after 1 year, I finally moved down to Florida to see if we could make this thing work. Now, I wish that I could tell you that we are still living happily ever after, but it didn't work out, and that's okay. But it's been one hell of a ride. I found a new life, a new job that pays so much more than my old one did. I've met a lot of new people from all walks of life. Hell, I'm even here doing something I've always enjoyed doing, which is making videos like this one. Playing that silly little life sim opened up my world so much. It's truly changed my life in so many different ways. I go back and play the game from time to time. You're probably even seeing footage from today right now. And when I do, I close my eyes and I think back to those days of playing the game. I think about all the ups and downs I've had over the last few years. And yes, there are a lot of features that I wish this game had. But I will always love New Horizons because it's the only game I can say has actually changed my life. Thank you for watching.